Hi, everyone and no one. I was incredibly anxious to get on today finally and review the past few weeks. Um, because I set off understanding more. Well, let's start from the beginning. First of all, I'm studying Rupert Spera, his teachings, and have been for quite some time now. And it really resonates with the experience of my life and resonates to me with a truth of our essence that nothing else has up until now. It was like I could always get little clips from this or that would help me in a small area and be very, and that would be good. That would be very good to open up to an understanding that you needed for this little, it seemed like a little piece of yourself, of what had happened in your life, or understanding someone else, or understanding how your body or brain works, and just all these little tidbits that never seem to go deep enough. They never seem to, when there's a truth, it's a truth for all and everything. And they were little truths that would be enough, and then you'd have to go further. They'd be enough for some moments, or for something. We have such a bucket full of conditioning that if you take one thing out at a time and understand it, that doesn't get you very far in a lifetime. If you're looking at time and space, looking at things through time and space, like most of us do in our limited minds and bodies, of course. But when you do that, it doesn't really do much, but it does something. I mean, it's always these little understandings add up, and then you can have a piece of yourself that feels much better than you did before you didn't understand something. So understanding is wonderful. So I had gotten to the point in Rupert Spera's studies, which, in a brief nutshell, step one would be to go back and back and back to before you. So it's like in these different other religions long ago, you say, I am not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. So it's going back to where there's no past, there's no future. There's just this space that's unqualified, because we qualify everything as we go along in life. And just gets a thicker and thicker and thicker conditioning as we go along. So going back and going back brings us to this empty but living space. And you can't even say space because it's unlimited. There's no dimensions, there's no time, no beginning, no end. It's just a continuum of living being, of being this ever-present. There are no words. Like, okay, let's just put it that way. There are no words for this spacious, empty, pure place that we can go to when we go back and back and back as deep as we can. And I think in our lives, if we ever have any really deep, wound or hurt, we sometimes are driven back to understand and be able to accept, forgive, whatever words you want to use, that pain, so that we can move on. So little by little, we call that going back, but it's not deep enough. So when we just take away all the circumstances, all the events, all the stories, and as I said before, past, future, just everything, the purity is, it's such a beautiful feeling, that light and lightness. It's not softness. It's soft, it's light, not heavy, not hard. I don't know what words to use, but anyway, step one would be going in that direction, inward. And a lot of people are successful using meditation to do that. I don't know. Meditation to me is all life, and I know Rupert said that before too, but anyway, it can be a practice or it can be not a practice. It can just be contemplating. It can be so many things to each individual. But just going back to that point where you can't go back anymore. It's just, there you are. And of course, that's the first step, is going back. And then the next step, and I'm probably saying this all wrong from how he does it, but this is how I'm feeling, or it's kind of a natural process, but he does do a beautiful job of making it so much clearer. So the next step would be recognizing that as your true essence, recognizing that as always having been there, and always, and is there, and always will be there. So it's recognizing it as everything. The chair, my kitty, me, you, everything, this bowl, my water, everything as being that, and everything being born from there. So rather than being each individual entities wrapped separately, apart from one another and separated, this recognition is powerful. we have our own thoughts, and we have our own conditioning, and we have our own ways we think, and all of the, we're all different. We're all different, and we all share in different ways. The potential of this being, this aware being that's everywhere and all things and all, just everything, is just potential that bursts itself in all these different ways, endless ways we cannot see, endless ways. They're just everywhere. It's everywhere in my hand. There's things we can't see because we are so limited in our being and body and feelings and this and that. We are so limited because we filter everything. We see everything through the eyes of this body, and so we are filtering it, and the way we see it is we perceive it. The way we perceive it is because of the way we're made. We do perceive. We are perceivers. So we perceive many different endless things, but they're all in a certain way that's limited to our view of what we're able to see in this body. But if we recognize who we truly are and where our source of everything, and we realize we have this piece of that source in each and every one of us, and everything, everywhere. There is no place that awareness or God or beingness is. There's nowhere it isn't. So that's the recognition. So the recognition of that, and then the next step is to be able to be in that recognition. The first thing we do, and that's what I was working on, or no, I shouldn't say working on, but that's what I was experiencing for so long, is going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to the limited being, and then back to that oneness, that big empty, beautiful, glowing place, or whatever. The words are not there, okay? There just aren't any words. But it's no beginning, no end, no dimensions. So going from there back and back and back to before you, and then coming back into the world, into things and all these objective things that you see, and being in your limited self, and losing sight of that awareness. Kind of, it's there and then you forget, and it's there and you forget, it's there and you forget, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until finally, after a while, it's not that you, or I mean, this is where I am anyway, it's not that you forget, but what happens is you actually start recognizing the difference of being in your limited self and being in source, and being aware of that source while you're in that limited space, and then you lose it. And then you bring yourself back. But the thing about this going back and forth is that you can identify it after a while. That going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you start identifying this is that place, this is the limited self, and this is awareness. Just simple, pure awareness that is aware of being aware of I am. Because that's how we identify anything, is with the I am. That's how we qualify everything too for this limited self. I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. So we just totally cover that innate, that source. We cover it up so thickly that we lose sight of it. So, but that back and forth is what I've been doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and doing. And it's just beautiful how it's getting clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. This is how I feel. This is how I respond when I'm in that limited self. And source is way in the background. And this is how I respond when I have source in the foreground. And this is where I am when I have it in the background. And it went in stages, you know. It was just a little bit, and then it was more and more and more. And I was seeing the source being able to be experienced more in the foreground in life, in this objective, beautiful canvas. And the funny thing is when the source comes from the background and comes into the foreground of your life, that canvas just gets more and more beautiful. That painting is so expressive and vibrant because you're open. You're opening like a flower. And that is so clear to you, it just makes you smile. Yes, it does. I'd love to see everybody walking around smiling. But anyway, it would be a tremendous way of people seeing that would stop fighting in wars and wanting to hurt other people if you knew you each were source, living life. You'd care about everything. You would. You just would. There would just be the way it would be. And you soon feel that when you're going back to the limited self, back and forth, because in the limited self, you're lacking and you're resisting and you're afraid and unsure, and all of those things come from that limited self. The judgment, everything. And then when you're in that place of source, everything just melts away. It just all melts away. What a great feeling. What a pure feeling that is. So that brought, since that's been happening here in the last few weeks, and I've just been acknowledging more and more, identifying with each one of those ways and feeling it, source coming more into my life for a little bit longer. Yeah, that brought something up in me that Rupert had shared in one of his books. I forgot. Anyway, it's the book about happiness. Anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And why would I even forget such a beautiful book? I haven't forgotten the book. It's just that the name, Happiness. You are the happiness you seek. Or it's just perfect. It's a perfect little book to read. But anyway, he shares a lot about his own experience, and it helps a lot. A lot. And one of the things that popped up from this experiencing, because you have to leave any teaching alone after a while, so you're not in the head. You're not just listening to somebody say things to you. And Rupert's good about bringing an experience from you and not doing that. But you still do it because you're not understanding, because you're not experiencing the picture completely, and not at all completely. And so you just get these little bits and pieces, and going through that experience. So there was something in that book that he brought up. This clip just boom came up to me while going through this back and forth. And it was about something about where he's listening to a symphony or an orchestra or music, and he's completely just into doing that. And he's feeling all the different parts. He's seeing or feeling, seeing or thinking, or he's being in this, with this sound, with this music, this music is playing. And he's feeling the feelings. So he's feeling the feelings, and then he's feeling, or it's all these three different pieces, like the objective and the knowing that he's not that, because it's a separation of he's pulling everything apart, his mind, his feelings, and his true essence. He's separating it all to see what's real. And I'm not saying that right. But because I'm putting myself in there. Okay, so he is listening and seeing the music playing, the orchestra. And he's feeling the sensations of listening. And there is a space that he's listening into. I mean, it's like an email has to have something to put the email on. So he's noticing that his awareness, that open, beautiful space, is the place where these things, he feels that that open space, he can see the sensations and feelings doing their thing. It's like a separate, it's like a dance, feelings and thoughts are doing. The music is playing. So it's like all of this is happening in this open space, this big open space of awareness. So, gosh, it came to me so brightly of how that space, the big open awareness of consciousness, of everything, all things, in and out, and everywhere, no beginning, no end, God, or whatever you want to say. That space was watching all of these things happen in it. I'm aware that I'm aware. But it wasn't until after the separating, back and forth, being in the limited self and being in that place that of source, back and forth, that I actually to relate to what he said in that book in a new way. I'm trying to explain it with words the best I can. But it was like it came to me. It wasn't in my head. I felt what that meant, or what that, I felt it. I got it. I got what he was saying. I got a glimpse of what he was saying. And that was so exciting. I wanted to share that with you tonight. Oh, wow. Just nice that I got it. I read it before, but all of his stuff is beautiful to me. So when I read it, I read it and I take it in as far as I'm able to take it in. And there's so much that I think I'm taking in, but it's just a little bit. I'm just touching the surface. Just touching the surface of what he's teaching. And so this is the reason why we have to back away from teachers, so that we can have these things kind of pop in when they need to, and when you can get it. So I had to read it again. And it just kept making me smile, because it's such an opening that another crack in the opening of my conditioning. Okay, so I don't know how to explain so many things in words, because it's such a subject that doesn't use words. It is, words only explain objective things, and not these internal things, experiences. So anyway, I was really excited to get on and try to say something about it. I don't know that I did very good, but if I keep trying to say what I'm going through, or what it is, or what I'm learning, or share Rupert's teaching, that's what I feel drawn to do. Not me teach it, but I mean the experience of it. Yeah, I feel very drawn to do that, because it's so beautiful. Anyway, I appreciate anyone that listened, which I don't think anybody has so far. And that's okay too, because I will learn how to express these things as I walk the earth better. I can learn better how to express these things in words. Not as good as Rupert, but at least I'll be able to discuss it better when I do it. So thank you if you are or are not here. I know you're doing life, and I know we all are made from the same stuff. And so it's beautiful. It is. So I'll say goodnight to everyone and no one. And I will see you soon. I hope, especially sooner. I hope I have something to share sooner. But this was so huge. I just wanted to do this. Good night.